Hello, friendlings. Welcome to another episode of Genuine Chit-Chat. This week, I'm joined with my buddy, Alex, who's been a couple of episodes of the podcast previously. Now, this weekend, I just went to Wales, essentially, with my girlfriend, and we went to Wales, which is where Alex lives. He used to live down in Southampton, and he moved over to Wales. And I go up there and visit him every now and then. Sometimes we go hiking, sometimes we do this, that, and the other. The weather wasn't that great, so we did an escape room for one of our mates' birthdays. And we also went to a Denny's, and I had chicken and waffles with spiced maple syrup, and it was so goddamn good. I can't even believe... for people who are in America, obviously you get Denny's quite a lot here. Whereas in England, or in the UK, there's only one Denny's, and it's in Swansea in Wales. So, that's like a 4-hour drive for me. So I do love Denny's, not quite that much, but going over to Wales was fantastic. And chatting to Alex and stuff, I thought, well, I've got this episode saved. Why not release it to the world? So yeah, in this one, Alex is a friend of mine who's very much quite a nature man, in a sense, if that's even a term, which I'm not sure it is, but whatever. He's quite a nature man, and he loves going outdoors, and he knows a lot about wildlife and stuff. And the first bit of the podcast, we talk about bat netting and sort of invasive species and those sorts of things. And we talk about general cycle of life, as well as our opinions on hunting and conservation, including trophy hunting and that sort of things. We always talk about sort of pandas and other just things living. We talk about deities and consciousness, like a little bit in the middle, as well as the value of life and the respect we need to have for nature. And then towards the end, we kind of talk about sort of the balance of tech and nature, as well as feel the wild, which is essentially something that Alex has started up in Wales. He just goes on walks essentially to really cool spots, and he chats with people. A lot of people think it's really good for their mental health. Other people like it for other reasons. He goes into more detail, but I think it's just there's so many more things happening at the moment, which is gravitating more towards reconnecting with nature. I've mentioned in passing my sister-in-law Catherine, she does something called rewilding, which I'm going to have on the podcast at some point in the future, and we'll discuss that as well. So it's that reconnecting with nature, getting back to our sort of roots. We are animals at the end of the day. So that's what this podcast is basically about. It's only one part, so it's 50 minutes long of the actual audio, so it's just a one-off instead of the two-parters. That's about it really. I'll be back at the end to talk about the usual things, including my potentially maybe starting up a Patreon soon, so listen towards the end if you're interested in that, as well as find us in the usual social media outlets, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. I generally said to use Instagram a bit more as photos, including on this one there's actually photos of Alex's tattoos and his flip-flop tan lines, which are a sight to be seen. So be sure to pop over to @genuine_chitchat on Instagram. You don't have to follow, you don't even have to like, but if you see it and it makes you laugh, then that'll be all that we need really. So just before the show gets started, I've got a promo for Bro Honey's Dude Files. Bro Honey, they've basically got another show called You're Weak and Stupid, which I think I've done a shout out about before, and also I've done a promo for, but it's absolutely hilarious. Very not safe for work humour, if you get offended by things easily, I wouldn't recommend checking these guys out, but if you're unoffended by basically everything, then it's not specifically offensive necessarily. It's just quite vulgar, I'd say, in a lot of ways. A lot of swearing, which I'm obviously completely fine with, and I think it's hilarious, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. But still, go check them out if you fancy it. And that's basically it from me, so I'll be back at the end.
What happens when an Australian and a Belgian man each receive a mythical filing cabinet containing top secret files about the strange, mysterious and spooky world around us? What do? They make the Dude Files. Each week, Alex and Andy bring you topics about the unknown, bizarre, and creepy, like this. You wake up at nighttime, and you hear just ominous chanting. It's like, oh, that's sort of fucking creepy. You go up to your window with your wine and cheese. Midnight snack. And you look down, and there is carts and carts and carts of fucking decomposing bodies, limbs just strewn everywhere, bones. Oh yeah, and some of this. I would watch a Mothman Prophecy show where his neighbor just peeks his head over. He's like, oh, you're murdering teens over there? Drinking their blood? That's good to know. Bet I give you some iron. Iron is good for the blood. Like this.
Henry.
Yeah?
Did you push the V-shaped formation button again? For fuck's sake, we were flying silently and nobody was gonna spot us. We've been flying silently in a V-shaped formation for the last fucking...
I'm Chris Angel. In my spare time, I come down to Earth, and I'm Chris Angel. I mind freak people. That's what I do, baby. So I tried it out. I'll make this a Chris Angel stunt.
Damn it, Henry.
How do we?
You always do this.
Where was Chris Angel when this happened? Was he mind freaking people? What was this? 78? How old was he? 97. He was.
If you're gonna start this, then I'm gonna need a beer.
Find the Dude Files on all major podcast apps by searching The Dude Files or at www.brohoney.com.
Welcome to Genuine Chit-Chat, where we have honest conversations with interesting people. And I'm your host, Mike Burton.
That's me being quite quiet.
Yeah, I know, but you need to talk in like a normal volume.
Good evening.
That's the only thing you can think of saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen the new Darren Brown?
The
Miracles.
No, I haven't. I've seen him live a few times, but I think the last one I saw of his was Svengali.
Yeah. Oh, he did Miracles, and he asked someone to. Part of his thing was to say a random quote, and he was going to guess what they said, and she was just like, "Good morning." She was like trying to figure something to say. She was like, "Good morning, campers." Good morning, campers.
That's from. Is that from one of the Vietnam films? Is it?
Well, no, they said it was like no. Good Morning Vietnam's from what's it called? Robin Williams' film. Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
But it was like Heidi High was like that, or the other one, the naughty films from the 70s.
I don't know.
Is it recorded now?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
done
wow.
it. Subtle.
It is
Right
subtle.
in there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's how I roll, dog.
Hey,
I'll do it like bear subtle, like a bear. Even though bears aren't
good.
subtle.
This is good.
Yeah.
Bears aren't subtle.
No. Well, with your foraging thing, I'm more. Do you do foraging in Wales as well?
Yeah. So the reason I started doing it so often recently in this last 4 months is because I do forest school on Tuesdays with my student, and work with a guy called Ben. He's amazing. Can we swear?
Yeah,
he's fucking amazing.
You've been on the podcast twice before me.
Yeah. I know. It's just a PG-rated version of this.
No, fuck that.
He's fucking amazing, and he's become like a real close friend of mine. And where I work in Wales is like a really rural area, not much around, but we have some amazing woodland areas, and we get to spend a majority of my week we get to spend out in the countryside of Wales, which
That's
is
your
awesome.
dream, isn't it? Cause you're,
Yeah.
I think you are like the Dev West Prada song, Danger Wild Man. I think
Danger
that's
Wild
just
Man.
Danger Wild Man. That's you.
Yeah.
Whenever I think
I
of
would.
you.
Yeah, I'm not too dangerous.
No,
I could.
it's danger. What like danger? Not the wild. It's like danger. Wild man. Like the wild man is not in danger. I think it's the wild man is the danger. So I'm saying that you are a dangerous individual, not that you do dangerous things.
That makes me sound like a bad person.
Well, I don't know. You are going out foraging and making gin, so it's only one step away from moonshine.
Very true. Yeah, basically it's moonshine.
So-
but yeah, so we just, all the time we were going out and we were identifying plants all the time. I've always done it with my forest school. I've always known the basic plants and stuff, but then I've just tried to step it up now to try and learn 5 plants a week and their uses. And most plants have some amazing history behind them. Some plants are just boring as fuck. So mainly plants that are like daisy shaped or yellow. I'm like, there's so many subspecies of you. I'll just give you a miss. It's more of the plants that stand out and the ones that are more of an eye opener that I can be like, oh, this is a really good plant. This is used for that.
Like rare ones or like ones that are foreign ones that are not a native to England or what?
Yeah, especially when I used to run my courses, it was quite clear that I needed to pinpoint some species that we shouldn't have in the UK because we had a fucking habit of introducing species that looked good back in, especially in the Victorian times, to cordon off areas and show people where the lines were between farms and stuff, and they put these ridiculous stupid plants that looked lovely and pretty, but then in retrospect they just absolutely destroying our wildlife at the moment. So stuff like rhododendrons, they're just shit. They're everywhere as well. Japanese knotweed, that shit, it's crap. There's loads of that in Wales. Himalayan Bolton, as much as it looks really pretty, and I love when I find Himalayan Bolton and I show people, because when you go, you literally can just tap a pod, especially this time of year or earlier this time of year when they're letting off their seeds. you just touch the pod. You don't have to just brushing past it and they explode.
I see.
And it generally explode, and that's how the seeds disperse. It catching on animals and sheep and stuff, and they spread. And it's just crap shit to have. They look fantastic. It's great to demonstrate that, but at the end of the day, they're crap species to have.
What do you define as a good species? Is it like is it basically they have to have nutritional value for local animals as well as not being so invasive they stop other plants from growing?
That's it. And especially like rhododendrons, what they do is because they grow so fast. Like they grow as fast as bamboo. I know bamboo's the fastest growing plant, but they grow really fast. And then because they're like a mid-level plant, not shrub level, but I can't think of the word of it is, but they just basically, and they're basically an evergreen, so they're always green no matter what time of year, and they just stop sunlight reaching anything lower than that. And this is what's causing the effects with the smaller plants that we have, especially the smaller ones that are really useful, like herb robert and stuff like that. They can't get it. They can't get the sunlight, so then they're just dying off. So we can work out if we get rid of the rhododendrons, then more sun will come through, and then that will allow our understory plants and stuff to grow better than they are at the moment. And I went up to on Thursday. I used to work at Itchen Valley Country Park, and I spent a lot of time up there. And I went back to meet with the guy I used to work with, Tom. And I saw Ben, who's the forest ranger for Itchen Valley Country Park. It was nice catching up with him. But what they've just started doing, especially they've done it in the New Forest as well, they've started taking down all the pines. So when you go to Itchen Valley Country Park, it looks totally different because they've felled huge areas. So it looks really thinned out and it looks quite crappy to begin with. But at the end of the day, what they're doing is getting rid of the pines, which are these evergreens, which are basically suffocating the ground of sunlight, so stopping these understory plants from growing. But then, in the next 20 years, they're reintroducing broadleaf plants, broadleaf trees, so your silver birches and stuff like that, which are our native trees. And then these are the guys that will shred their leaves and then allow understory plants to grow, and then we'll have amazing much more. And like I said, we plant, especially the New Forest. It's called New Forest for a reason. It was planted, and most of it is pine and sycamore and stuff like that, and it's not good. So if you go to New Forest, there's huge areas of felling, just for regrowth of broadleaf woodland. So I think in the next 20 years, the aim is to basically have a remapped area of where broadleaf woodland should and will be for the next 100 years. So fingers crossed, in the next 100 years, we should have it down to a T. And we should have lots, with broadleaf woodland, because the ground's not acidic from the pines, we'll have so many more plants. We'll have plants that are rare now won't be rare, which will be amazing. We'll have more uses, we'll have more wildlife, and it's just a win-win, really.
Oh yeah, I didn't really. It's one of those things. Obviously, I'm not necessarily in that world, so I don't really think about that sort of thing that often. Obviously, it makes complete logical sense. You know, you have evergreens; they never shed their leaves, and the leaves can't be used as the sort of the grounds, because it's a big cycle of life of trees, isn't it? They grow, loads of animals live in the trees, and the leaves provide them protection and food and that sort of thing. The trees fall off, provide protection and food for all the animals at the bottom, like beetles and a lot of other ground dwelling things, and even a lot of mammals and stuff. And then, obviously, because of the winter months, a lot of the creatures hibernate, and then obviously the bugs need some sort of. Do bugs hibernate? Or do they just all die off and then come back?
Yeah, most bugs have a limited lifespan. It's like dragonflies and butterflies and stuff like that. Dragonflies, they'll stay as a dragonfly nymph in the water in your pond for like 2 years.
Really?
And they'll come up and they'll turn into a dragonfly or a damselfly. And they're only there for 2-3 weeks, and then they're dead. Now at that time, it's just purely to breed. And then the cycle starts again. Like, I think the longest lifespan of a butterfly is 6 months. Like, for some species, probably broad or something the size of a fucking bat. But the ones over here, yeah.
There's a moth though, isn't there? There's moths that we've got in England now. Which,
moths are amazing.
I've just seen the moths. I've seen them in some of the butterfly house and things. The ones that the wings are like that big.
Yeah.
And they're orangey and like dark orange, yellow, beige, sort of browny colour. I don't know what ones they are.
So the biggest moth we have in the UK is called a privet moth, and they're the size of a sparrow. And luckily, about a month ago, I do a lot of work up at the St Maddox Centre, which is North Gower, right on the tip of Gower, and it's a lovely community-run place. They have like camping and stuff for schools and stuff, but they also do a lot of conservation work. And there's a lady called Gemma She's just moved over from Ireland, and she's doing a lot of the conservation work around the Gower. So we've been doing lots of work with her, and one of the things we've been doing is moths. And she set up a moth light the night before, and then we got there in the morning, and we had the chance to identify over 100 species with her of moths that were in it. And there was one privet moth. And yeah, it's about the size of a sparrow. You can imagine the size of a sparrow. I've got a picture of it. All the little pots were tiny little pots with the rest of the moths, but then she had it in a jar.
Oh,
So
wow.
you can imagine how big it was, like a pickle jar. That's like, they couldn't fit in anything else. It had to go in this jar because it was that big. I got a photo on my phone. And
Man, can you send that to me?
Yeah, it's humongous, a privet moth. I think I'm saying it right, but don't quote me wrong. There's loads of elephant hawk moths. We get loads of those.
Yeah.
Anything like that, really. They're the really big moths, and you'll know when they're around you because they do sound like a bat.
Yeah, I've had it's like stag beetles are so loud. They're one of the loudest things. I mean, they're with the noise of it. Is it because of the speed it has to go? Because like bees and wasps and things are quite loud, even though they're quite small, and obviously they just have to flap their wings so quickly.
Yeah, and the stag beetles, cockchafers, or May beetles, and hornets. Like you hear them coming.
You can hear a hornet from a mile away. They're terrifying.
Oh, exactly. You hear them fucking coming.
Yeah, I mean, with because I remember, I think it was in the garden the other day, and there was just a stag beetle, and you just hear. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
it's just black blob goes past you. It's like, the fuck? And it's obviously.
It sounds like a dickhead on a moped.
It does. It legit does. Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
100%. I mean, with moths, moths and butterflies, like, what is actually the difference between them, if any? Are they just essentially same general species? They just look.
Oh, I've never looked into it, like their categories for it. Like I'm better with my moth identification than my butterflies. I know cabbage white and specklewood and stuff like that, but I'm not. It's not one of those things. Like I know a lot about bats and stuff like that, but primarily I don't really know. Like,
yeah, because you've got tattoos of you've got the moth, the bat. I see there's a bird of prey. Is that a kestrel or falcon? Or?
Peregrine falcon.
Okay, cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And then two bats. I've got a long-eared brown bat, and then I've got a common pipistrelle, which are probably my two favourite bats in the UK.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough to work with bats and stuff in my industry, which is cool. So, and I've just joined the local bat group in Wales, which is picking up quite a lot. So hopefully, autumn and stuff, I'll start doing bat netting again. And
what's bat netting? Is that basically capturing them, checking they're okay?
Yeah, bringing them, making sure like they're
keeping
working
track
out
of the amounts,
seeing how far these guys fly for food and stuff like that. And so you just basically put up a huge net. It's like an oversized badminton net, and the bats fly into it. They don't get harmed or anything. They just get caught in it. It doesn't hurt them. They take them out, ring them, check the size, what species it is, if they're okay, and then they let them go. It's obviously just to help these guys be protected in lots of their places. And that's what I love so much about Wales. They're so hot on recycling. They're so hot on conservation. And there's lots of places that you generally just can't get building regulation on, which is perfect because a lot of places, like I live in West End, and where we used to play when I was younger is all now becoming buildings and places that they're just building all the time, and it's just a shame. And like I see it post all the time where there used to be like a green spot where it used to be like a field or tiny something like that, and then now it's just now going to be housing estate, and it's a shame because I remember the big one was when they built just behind my houses. They put a whole new row of townhouses in.
Yeah.
And basically, when they were building it, it pushed all of this wildlife up towards our house because these animals had always lived there, and now they're retreating. So we had rats, we had everything. We used to have so many hedgehogs and foxes and stuff all around our area. Gone. I haven't seen a hedgehog in my where I live for probably about 12 years now, which is a real shame.
Are you saying where you live now in Wales, where you used to live?
We live in West End.
Oh, okay.
So they all got pushed up, and they just carried on. Like they didn't stop because they needed to find somewhere else to live, and it was a real shame. Like, and we had a big issue with rats because obviously rats are not great animals, but they were pushed up from there, and they were all in our gardens for a while. And yeah. It's a shame. Deer as well. I love deer. Obviously, I know they're a nuisance, but we used to see deer walking down the street. It's just cool, but not much anymore. So it is a shame.
Well, there's a lot of animals that we view as nuisances, and I agree. I mean, I think all animals have a right to live except mosquitoes. I think
pandas.
Well, pandas, yeah, because pandas are like the worst. Like the only reason they're even still about is because we're forcing them to recreate.
Then they're lazy in that as well. Like I love them. They're great animals. Like they look awesome. But at the end of the day, they're carnivores, so they should be eating meat. They don't.
Yeah,
they have to spend 80% of their day eating.
Because there's such a lack of nutritional value.
There's nothing in bamboo. And the rest of the time they're sleeping. And then these fuckers won't even reproduce. Like, we there's all these programs, loads and loads of programs to get them breeding. And they'll put them, like, these pairs together. And they're so fucking lazy, they won't even have sex. Like, these guys... And that's why their numbers were so low for a while, was because they just weren't breeding. Like, it's not like we weren't given an opportunity. They're in the right places. The habitats are being saved. These fuckers just won't breed. And it's just like, we're doing everything we fucking can to help you guys. Like, seriously, just do something. Like, give us 100,000 or something, and then we'll say, look, you don't have to have sex again. And then that'll be great. Carry on eating your bamboo and sleep. But they won't. It's just like, come on. Like, what else do you need us to do? Because basically, if we left you now, then there wouldn't be any more of you guys. And obviously, it's a real shame to lose animals. But it's happened. It's like the dodo and the other animal. I can't think of the name of it. But the funniest story is, I can't think of their names. They're basically like dodos. They're flightless birds. They live on this island. They're like 3 times the size of a chicken. Loads of meat on them. And they lived on this island peacefully. And then we came along, because there's no predators on the island, they just allowed us to pick them up. Like, they had no reason to fear us, and that's why the numbers went down, because it just makes me laugh, because you could literally just walk up to it and pick it up, and they'd be like, hey, friend, and then next you're being eaten. Obviously, they'll learn over time and stuff, and animals are really smart, like deer will only be nocturnal if they're being hunted in the day. Yeah. Because they will come out in the day if they know they're not going to be hunted. So.
Yeah, there's certain places in the world where the deer just don't really... It depends where it is, because there's certain places where there's such a vast space for them to graze and things like that hunters don't really go near them, because I can't remember where it is exactly. I think there's certain places in Australia and there's a few places in America where the amount of space is just so huge. They basically, like, a lot of the deer would never come into contact with a human, because there's just... And if there's not a huge hunting community around there, they're still not. So they are a bit fearful in a way, because obviously wolves and certain other predators. But I can't remember where it is. I think there's some sort of island somewhere, but I may be fabricating this, so apologies. But where there's deer there, and there's basically no hunters, but they've got so much food there, they're basically really big deer, and they just... They don't really have any fear of anything, but you make a noise or anything, even though they don't have fear, they're so strong they can just run, and they're just gone. I mean, deer and elk and that sort of thing.
Well, that's why hunting is a fantastic thing. Like, when you look at how they do it and stuff like that. Joe Rogan with what's his name?
Adam Greentree.
Adam Greentree. I follow him on Instagram. Anna's got his wife now, Kim Greentree. She's amazing as well. She's a bow hunter as well, and him going into talks about how and stuff he does his hunting. I think it's fantastic. Deer are shit on it for avoiding stuff, and they're made for that.
Well, that's the thing. People, I mean, I've spoken to. Have you met my friend Don? I think you have, haven't you? Yeah. He's I think he's gone hunting a couple of times, things like that, and he's more for hunting than I am. I'm for hunting in a lot of ways, but there's certain aspects I don't fully agree with him with. But hunting's come up a few times in this podcast, and it's one of those things where what people think of when they think of hunting is a group of 5 or 6, probably 40-year-old white dudes, probably Southern America, walking out with shotguns, go into the woods and just slaughter thousands of animals and leave them. When it's like, no, usually what happens is a group of like 10 will go out there. They'll often use a bow, but often they do use rifles and things. They will try and catch like 1 or 2 animals in like a 2-week period. Often they'll fail anyway. But if they can get it, they have to pay for the tags to be able to even try to hunt these things. All the tags go towards paying for people's jobs who conserve the area and make sure there's no people going in. Also, because to keep track of the animals and how many animals get killed, then they can keep a track on their population. And then if things get diseased and stuff, they can cordon off areas, they can keep quarantine, they can control it. Because a lot of people are like, we shouldn't be involved with these animals. And I'd agree with them if we hadn't fucked with them for the last hundreds and hundreds of years.
It's our fault the state they're in now.
Yeah. We need to unfuck what we've done. We need to undo the damage. And to do that, we need control. And to do that, we need money. And people are like, yeah, but, hunting, there's other ways to get money. It's like, yeah, but no one's donating. It's like 80% in America, I think it is, 80% of money they get for conservation is from hunting. Only 20% is from donations and stuff because, well, especially with the recession that the Western world essentially is in, especially in Britain as well, it's like, I would love to be able to donate £100 a month to save animals because I love animals, but I don't have £100 for me, let alone for them.
Yeah, most people have the same thing. And like I said, people just don't understand. And it's good to educate yourself with these things. And I know lots of people who I've met, and hasn't taken them long to see the point of view of what they're actually doing. Because like I said, it's like black and white. For people outside, they'll see hunting as a bad thing. And there's lots of bad hunting.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Hunting for sport, I don't agree with. Like, if someone tried to hunt, what's it called, foxes and stuff, and the badger culling, that absolutely infuriates me. Like, I'll be effing and jeffing all fucking day if I spoke about that now, but I won't. But
I haven't heard much about the badger. I know there is a badger.
Yeah, bring it up.
You don't.
Yeah, if you fucking want to be pissed off, look at badger culling. Ruin your day.
Because I don't like dogs, or I think it should be a humane death, which should be a gun or an arrow, and then if the animal goes down and isn't dead, 2 shot, gone. The second shot in the head, and then it's like, because what people don't realise is they go, how dare you go out there and kill these animals? It's like, you do realise if we don't shoot them, they're going to die of disease. If we don't keep the control population, they're going to die of starvation, or they get literally ripped to shreds by wolves and things like that. Like, not as much we see in England, but with animals, wolves will start eating their prey anus first.
Yeah, they love it.
What you want to let? So it's like, okay, we can either let a deer live a nice, happy, normal life for probably 60% of its life. It gets to a certain point, either it gets too old or whatever, it's too dumb to be able to escape that of a hunter, because they can smell our scent in the air, they can hear movement, all these sorts of other things. It's a very difficult thing to track and kill an animal, and so it's like, do all these things, and then you can either let them die of all these horrible ways, or a quick instant kill, which then the money from that helps save the rest of their population. And hunting, the meat either will get left there and all the other animals will eat it, which it gets stripped to the bone within a day, or the humans take it and then we have the meat which isn't factory farmed. So it's like a win-win. But when you have dogs and stuff, like when with a lot of the fox hunting that happens in England and stuff, or was happening in England, I don't know how much does happen, I'm not as well adverse to that subject, but it's like they would go out there on horses and have dogs ripping foxes to shreds, and that is
not cool.
horrendous.
Hunting for sport's bad.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, like I said.
Well, what's your opinion on I don't know how to feel about this with like trophy hunting, for example. Now, like with lions and things, I don't want to kill a lion, but in places like Africa, where a lot of the trophy hunting happens, there's a lot of poaching. If you have a big area of a certain population of lions and you're keeping them alive and cordoned off from poachers, but X amount of them gets killed for trophy hunting, but the money for that helps conservation in a similar way, is that... I don't. This isn't like some sort of rhetorical question. I'm trying to have a moral standing. Yeah. I'm really unsure how I feel about trophy hunting.
It's like, there's two ways to look at it. Like you said, the massive amounts of money go back into conservation from trophy hunting. And a lot of it is exactly the same as the tag system in America and the UK. Like, they'll get to a point when the population's reaching a level where it's going to become unmanageable, it's going to affect the local wildlife, and then everything will kind of fall out of shape. But then obviously then you can say, well, nature will take its course and then things will happen, and a load of them might get diseased, and obviously nature does find its own way of shaking stuff off, doesn't it? It happens quite a lot. But then you do have trophy hunting where people just go out and obviously we're told to kill the biggest thing they find, which I don't believe in. But I think if there's a tag system, so obviously in a conservation point of view, if they're looking at like a herd of an animal, elephants or something, and then there's one that's too large for the group, he's endangering what's happening, especially lots of time with elephants. So the new male elephant doesn't like the young. Normally the elephant will take over from a brood of females that have had the baby of another elephant if they've won and that's taken control. Then that elephant most times will then kill the new baby elephants.
Yeah, bears do the same.
Yeah, because obviously, so if they think that's at risk of happening, then obviously tag system will be put in place, and then I don't see a problem with that tag being put up on an auction, and then the highest bidder taking that auction, say a couple £1 million, because people will pay, at least fucking billionaires will pay that amount of money, but then that money all strictly go back into the conservation of the rest of those animals. So if you're thinking about a brood of 100 animals, and then one needs to be killed, which then is going to help the conservation for those animals for a year or 2 years, you can kind of work out that it's going to actually benefit them in the long run. Like, and I understand that, and I agree with that fully. If that's the case, if it's going to help, and that animal does need to be naturally or be taken out by someone, then that's the way that it should be. And obviously, whatever that person does as a trophy hunter or uses it. And most of the time, obviously, these people come from America or Saudi Arabia. They come from all over the world, so they can't physically take the meat and the stuff home. They'll normally have a donation system where that will go to a local tribe.
I've heard about that. A lot of tribes really, really like that sort of thing, because an elephant, like if you kill an elephant, that can feed a tribe for weeks.
Yeah, that's
or a huge tribe for a period of time. That is a lot of meat. And elephant meat's maybe quite good as well.
Yeah, so that's the basis of it, really. Like my friend Jamie, who lives up North Wales, he relocated a few years ago. He does a course in the UK called Stalk to Fork, which is the whole process from learning to shoot a gun, learning to clean your gun, learning about the animal, then also going out hunting, learn how to hunt, kill the animal, but then you take the animal back and use every single part of that deer in the next day, from eating it, from using the levers, from just using the horns, the bones for medicine, the cartilage and all of that stuff, and that's the process. But he also does one in Africa, which is exactly the same process. And again, he works with the local authorities over there. He's allowed to shoot this amount of animals with the group in the tag system way, and then that benefits them. He makes obviously a living from doing this, and then also is helping the conservation. So yeah, but trophy hunting in general, like, poachers are fucking assholes. Like,
100%. Like, especially because like rhinos basically being extinct. A lot of the species of rhino because people are greedy, and there's times where they've gone over there and they've literally killed a rhino and then taken off. Like, not even. I'm not saying this is valid if you took all of it, but like not even taking all the ivory. So if you kill a rhino, take like a certain amount of ivory and then leave this carcass there of endangered species.
So sad.
And it's just like, you can't. The problem is with a lot of people who are very anti-hunting is they want to live in a nice world where no one dies, nothing is killed, and everything lives in harmony. And it's like, unfortunately, there are a lot of assholes in the world, humans and animals alike, that are going to ruin everything. And even though we have messed up a lot of things, a lot of us want to try and, sort these things out. And there are the minority that ruins it for everyone else. And that is very upsetting.
And the main thing is, I would say, it's ridiculous high numbers here, but I'd say 90% of the people who want to make a difference, want a change, are everyday people. Us, from all different walks of life, are the people that, in an ideal world, would have this option, but they don't have the money, they don't have the support to make a difference. Like, I would say a really high number for that. But then that 10% that are dickheads or arseholes who don't give a fuck, those guys are the ones that have money. And this is the problem, like, and power. So even though you've got 90% of people wanting change, they can't do that change because, obviously, as a collective, you can sign petitions, they can raise money. But at the end of the day, you have these billionaires at the end of the line, and they're the ones that have the money to just do stuff. And then I think that's a lot comes down to it. Like, the people that are making these rules and things coming into play are just people with power and money. And no matter what 90% of people say, that's it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I want to get your thoughts on this. What was your idea on sort of, because I don't think I've ever spoken to you about this, about about consciousness or spirituality or anything like that. Like, if you don't want to talk about it in the podcast, you don't have to, but I'm just, because obviously I'm an atheist, but I feel like I'm becoming more agnostic because my kind of view is becoming now, I don't believe there is a god or a deity. What I'm basically believing is universal consciousness. So I believe that everything is on a level playing field. So I don't believe there is a god that's better than everyone or more powerful than everyone or anything like that. I think that there's only two things that matter in the universe, and that's that's being alive and not being alive, essentially. I know it's a really oversimplistic way of looking at it, but like, the Earth as a being is alive. It's almost like a human is made of billions of bacteria and stuff, and we're just, us and the other animals and stuff are just the bacteria on this planet, this big superorganism, essentially. But obviously, a rock isn't alive. Do you know what I mean? That isn't something that's physically alive. Trees are alive. Fungi are alive. Insects, animals, creatures are alive. And I just believe that, like, even though we're arguably more self-aware than a lot of pretty much every other animal, bar arguably certain ones like dolphins and orcas that are very complicated creatures, we are all just alive, and we should all have a right amount of respect for each other of being alive. I'm not saying an ant has the same value of life as a human, but it's it's something to kind of consider of consciousness.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel with like when you go into like a forest, you can feel the life not only with
massively.
the trees and the plants, but also the animals and the insects, and it feels different. And obviously the air tastes cleaner because of the trees and stuff. So I'm kind of curious of like, I don't, from what I know of you, I don't believe that you're religious, but are you religious? Are you spiritual?
I'm atheist. I'm very spiritual. Especially in the last, I'd say, year and a half.
Same.
I've really, like, I read a book called The Triolcum, which kind of changed my view. And then I can't think of her name who read the books, but she wrote one about seasons and stuff, about the spring equinox, summer equinox, the autumn equinox, and the solstices, and these events which celebrate the spiritual and the enlightenment we get from the earth and stuff. And I really believe in that. And yeah, especially the last couple of years, especially with going out so much and how it's changed my life more, especially when I've been in Wales, where I always have trees and green and woodland around me at all times where I live. You've been to where I live.
It's beautiful, absolutely stellar.
Waterfalls and mountains and just everywhere.
Within it was like we drove 10 minutes up the road and walked for 10 minutes.
That's it. Yeah,
it was like probably about a 40-minute walk. It was like beautiful.
Waterfalls everywhere, and it makes you feel just amazing. It makes you feel small because you're just a small part of this system.
It's humbling.
It is amazing, and you've seen my page. I just started a organisation called Feel the Wild. You've seen this, haven't you? So
yeah, I'll put a link to it.
Yeah, and I believe, especially in my line of work, the humongous benefits of just to walk outside whenever you're feeling low or you're feeling down, and just green is a mutual colour on your brain. So it's like your brain just feels comfortable with it. So when you see that, you always feel positive towards green. So being out there in the smells and that, I think it's one of the most powerful drugs, non-physical drug you could ever take. So I started up Feel the Wild, which is to bring people with a whole range of mental health issues to come out with me. For a walk. We went for one down on Oxwich coast. It was an hour and a half. It was only meant to be, and then we got to the point where it's turning back round, like a U shape, and then everyone was so happy, positive, really getting on. All these people didn't know each other, that we just went, well, if we've not got anywhere else to be, we'll just carry on. And we went for another hour and a half, and we did a 3-hour walk, and it was only about an hour and a half. And this just the vibes that everyone was giving off. Everyone's so positive, so happy, just for being outdoors. So yeah, Feel the Wild, we do one organised walk once a month. So I'm going to be doing and switching it up. So one month we'll be walking the coast. So many beaches around where I live: Oxwich, Mooselade, Three Cliffs, all that, Rossilly. And then the next month we'll do like a waterfall walk. So we're doing one to Lady Falls, up in Aberystwyth, whatever how you say it. And then that's just going to be a lovely walk, and it's full of stuff, and it's so positive, and it's just engaging with people who don't have the clearest of minds at the moment, or are suffering from a silent disease like mental health issues and stuff. And I think it's so powerful. That's why I started it, just so we don't disclose with anybody, like people comfortable talking about what they've got, like if they're anxious or if they've got depression, then they're more happy to kind of talk to us about it. I'm not a counsellor myself. I've done a lot of counselling within my role at school, but I can obviously suggest where to go. But when we're out on a walk, it's just being there, experience it, talking to each other like humans, and just being there for each other. There's no trying to give someone a reason for how they're feeling or trying to cure what they're feeling. Just then, they're now, and where they are is what they're experiencing. And for that moment, they can just feel at ease and just feel like they're supported, and especially the nature going through them, the smells, the sounds, the trickling water, the feel of it. Just at that moment, they can just feel at peace, really.
It's beautiful, yeah. I mean, there's like my sister-in-law Catherine, she's been doing some rewilding. I think I've mentioned that to you before, and I've seen there's quite a few other people who are starting to kind of come around to this, because where we're delving deeper into the technological age, which obviously, you know, you and I are, you especially are basically I'm half saying loads of sentences. Basically, like, you and I really are into gadgets and technology and that sort of thing. You know, you and I are both massive movie buffs, especially. And, you know, you play a lot of video games, and I used to a lot of the time. And, you know, there is a place for technology in this world, and obviously it's inescapable. But what we need to be able to do is not have technology running the whole world. We need to have the balance between nature and tech. Have tech for medical science and for, you know, houses and living and comfort and things. But then you have to have the nature mix, because there is a lot of homeopathy or sort of alternative medicine. I'm not saying, you know, go somewhere, if you have cancer, smell some lavender incense and you'll be fine. There are lots of mild alternatives that you can try alongside Western medicine, and I'm not saying they all necessarily work. A lot of it can be the placebo effect, but there's a lot of things to look into. There's a lot of, we were talking, I think, before the podcast about some of the plants. It's like St. John's wort. That's a natural antidepressant, and there's actually that. Obviously it's slightly different, but like, you can go to a pharmacy, I believe, and get St. John's wort derivative prescribed to you for antidepressants. And
yes,
it's like,
they've always been used for that. Yeah.
Exactly. And nature's got a lot of great uses for a lot of different things. And I feel we need to be more balanced with everything. And a lot of people are experiencing this thing of where we're in this world where everyone's working more hours for less money. There's more political stress, there's social stress, there's all these sorts of big things. Social media. I mean, I am on social media a lot of things, and obviously you are as well, but it can cause a lot of people a lot of stress and anxiety, having to worry about your social stature a lot more of the time. Yeah. And with going out to nature, one of the things I love, especially seeing you, is we can hang out, you know, come over yours for a weekend, you know, have a couple of drinks, watch a movie or whatever, and then in the day you go, let's just go for a hike, let's go for a walk. And like when we went to the Brecon Beacons, and Megan, I showed the pictures of them, and she's been to the Brecon Beacons hiking as well. And it was just beautiful. I mean, we were out there for quite a few hours, weren't we? Me and Hannah and things. And we went there and we just walked for just hours, and it was just chatting.
Finniwai fan fac, I think is how you say it, but I'm not too good.
Oh yeah, because I'm terrible with the Welsh pronunciation. Yeah, and it was beautiful, and it was even because you're talking most of the time, but a lot of the time you're just not, and you don't even necessarily, you don't have to say anything. You're just walking quietly. You hear the winds, you see the beauty of nature. And I think what you're doing is fantastic, and a lot more people are delving into that world, and I can't recommend it enough to do those things. And when you, I have to figure out when you're next doing those walks and stuff like that, because definitely. When I come up to Wales to see you, I have to try and come on one of those.
And you meet some amazing people.
Oh, I can imagine.
All walks of life. But yeah, like you said, like, I think some people panic when, like, most people want to be going out and they want to be doing loads of adventurous stuff, but obviously they don't know how to or stuff. There's always amazing communities, which is, you can find on Facebook. There's ones for the New Forest, just walking groups or stuff like that. But some people panic because they think, oh no, I need to change my life. I want to drastically do this really fast. But it's just small changes, like maybe once a month, just schedule a walk for a day out in the woods. So you don't have to do it all the time, but you have something to look forward to. And then if you really enjoy it, you can put in more into your life. And like you said, finally have that balance. But people shouldn't rush out and try and do as much as they can because they wear themselves out. But people should maybe just make one choice, one walk a week or one walk a month, and just go out really. And just, you go out by yourself. One of the best things you can do, especially if you're feeling really low and down, is walk barefooted through a woods. Like, the feeling of the ground, like, it really centers you. And just, I 90% of my time I'm wearing flip flops.
I was going to mention that.
My feet are black all the time. My tan, look at these tan lines. Look.
Oh, that's amazing.
I am literally.
I'll take a picture of that.
I'm a Moroccan sunset in colour, but my tan lines for my flippy floppies is very dramatic.
I'm definitely going to have to take a picture of that and your tattoos to put in this episode, because that is hilarious.
But yeah, I think like that, and like you said, just going out, not talking to anybody, experience it, because it's great to have a chat and stuff. But there's lots of times on the walks we go, there will be silence for 10-15 minutes where, like, there's no need to talk because everyone's just there.
And the nature makes noise, doesn't it?
And that's it. And I just came back from, me and one of my best mates, Sam Cummins. We just
I met Sam, yeah.
Yeah, we met Sam. He kayaked, I canoed. We did 50 miles down the River Wye in 3 days. And there was a lot, like, we were doing 8 hours a day of canoeing down the river. But there's lots of times when we may spend an hour where he was not even that far in front of me, maybe 15, 20 feet down the river. And we weren't talking to each other, not because obviously we had enough of each other over 3 days, so that could happen, but where we were just like, this is perfect. There's no need to have conversation. Like, we're just literally listening, we're picking up on things, we're hearing the trickle from the paddles when the water's falling off, and it might be a bird flying over. You might hear like a motorway in the distance, which kind of makes you feel like you are close to civilization, but even though you look you feel miles away. And just the small sounds, and you can really hear it, especially down the River Wye, where most of the time you can't hear anything from modern day life, like motorways and stuff, but all you hear is just stuff around you, all the birds chirping, the water, and a bit of rain maybe.
Well, when we went to that cottage,
beautiful.
We went to a cottage when I came up and saw you a few months back, and
Yeah.
I think that's when I met Sam. And when everyone was in the cottage and stuff chilling out, you, me, and Sam went for a walk for about an hour or so.
Oh, that was awesome.
And it was just beautiful. And there was that really steep hill, and we just went down. And that stream, I've still got pictures of that, and that log, just a couple of trees that had fallen over the stream so you can cross it and go to the other side. And we were just, that's a bit we got to a point where we just stood there and looked around and didn't really say anything for a couple of minutes. It was just
Don't
like,
need to.
It's, the sound, like my brother Rob, he absolutely loves streams. That's like his big thing is he really, really likes streams. And what he likes to do is he's got a couple of spots around here where he'll just go there like once a week by himself. And there's this one stream he really likes, and he'll just sit by it and just listen. And you just hear the running water. And it's just one of the things that humans have is we seem to think, obviously, we have messed up a lot of the world, and we should try and be sorting that out. But if all the humans died tomorrow, nature will still live on. And that's kind of the beauty of it all. When you go out there, as you said earlier, it makes you feel so small, but not in you're unimportant way. It's everything in like a forest. Everything is kind of equally small that makes the big picture. There's not like, often obviously you need a stream and sort of other things for certain animals and whatnot, but like generally, you don't, if one insect dies or one sparrow dies or something, it doesn't destroy the whole ecosystem, but that's what nature's all about. Is the little things they all contribute to the big picture. And when you enter the forest, you're not the most important thing. You're probably, because we all the foreign thing, you're like Catherine calls it, you're a guest in the woods. You're a visitor.
Definitely.
You need to treat it with respect. The trees are alive. Just because they can't, just because plants, most of them can't move, and none of them can talk in the way we can talk and communicate with each other, doesn't mean they don't communicate with each other. It doesn't mean they're not alive. Just because they don't have nervous systems, and they probably can't feel or anything, doesn't mean that they're not alive and they don't deserve respect. Trees outlive humans. Do you know what I mean? You have trees around Britain that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, and a lot of the time the reasons they die is because we fuck them up. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
And it's beautiful you're doing these things and these walks.
Yeah, and like you said, it's just about having that balance of going out, and respect is one of the biggest things, and a lot of the problems we have, but I think it's no fault of our own. Like, we, especially in the last 10 years, I say our age, me and you, Mike, was on the cusp of, we still had a childhood which was filled of outside adventuring, all the time going out, exploring. We had mobile phones, but they were so basic that the only thing you could do was play fucking Tetris or
Snake.
And text your parents that you're safe, which that part of the technology was fantastic because it allowed the parents to know that they were safe, but we were out, we weren't doing stuff on the phone because we were still making dens and playing out. But then 2 years on from that, all kids have smartphones, and then they're not spending as much time out, or when they are out, they're just on their phone. And I feel that's the shame. Like, we've lost that. Like, there's not enough. Like I said, that's why I started my forest school back in 2015, was to allow children to be out and stuff. But we're not giving children enough time to understand the natural world. And then the issue is then, when in 30 years, 20 years time, these kids are basically the running this planet, when they're given an opportunity to make a difference or reason to do something to help a woodland or something, they won't have a relationship with that woodland, so they won't give the chance to help it. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so they'd rather, like, if it's like, okay, we can save the woodland and keep conservation going on wildlife, or we can wipe it down and build a huge shopping mall, and people, if they haven't got that connection with nature, they'll go, why do we want trees? Let's have a shopping mall.
Well, that's it. They've never had that positive reinforcement as a child of, this is nature, this is why we should be respecting it, this is what it is. Then when people have that experience in life, they'll make probably better choices. But if they've never had that, why would they ever have why would they want to save something that they've never experienced, which is a real shame. And that scares me, that does. I want all kids to spend as much time, especially, I don't think children should have. Well, I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't think children should have phones up to a certain age. Like,
I think around 10ish, around like secondary school, I think is the time where.
Yeah, I don't mean like they can't have phones. I could give them a basic phone, which is just for contact, and they're alright. But before that, they don't need smartphones. Like you can do so much, and that's why there's like imaginations are suffering, especially because everything is fed to us. Like you said, there's a positive technology and there's negative. Like, there's so much information we can get from it, but it's all fed to us. There's no going out and experience it, and then that's how you learn it. It comes back to when we were talking about languages earlier. Like, you can go online, you could learn every language in the world. You could Google, and you could spend a year on Google and listening and watching YouTube videos. But then you could spend, I don't know, a month in that actual place, and you'll learn more from experience doing it. Then you can, obviously, it doesn't count for everybody because there's a lot of different learners, but
yeah, there's like a general idea of it.
Yeah, the general idea is you go somewhere, experience it. That's when you get your life experiences. You get these memories and stuff, and that goes in our long-term memories, and then that's what happens.
And that's what life's all about. I just say, like, humans, a lot of people have that worry where they go, a lot of people cling, not everyone who is religious believes this, I want to preface that, but a lot of people religious like religion because they feel like it gives them a sense of purpose, which is one of the big reasons I disagree with religion, because I find people are always trying to find a way to give their life purpose by finding other means, when it's like, all it is you've got about 80-ish years, probably about 60 good years if you're lucky, on this planet. All it is when you're on your deathbed or before you die, all you have is your memories. You know, you have your memories and the memories you've instilled in other people. And all you've got to do is try and make everyone's experience as positive as possible make yours as positive as possible. And when I have kids, and I know that you're going to be like this when you have kids, but like when I have kids, I will show them movies. I'll let them play video games and stuff like that. Yeah. But it will be, especially on the weekends, it will be a case of, okay, you know, in the evening, if you want to chill out, you want to play video games with your friends, that's fine. But in the daytime, most of the time, we're going to be going out. You know, especially when the weather's nice, you've got to be, you know, go out, go to the woods, have a walk, have a picnic, go, you know, experience places, come see you in Wales, just walk up, like go to Snake's Head and Rossley Beach and things like that. And it's just like, you can have all these conversations, and when you have the mix of technology as well, you can even have it where if you're watching TV or video games, this sort of thing, you can be talking about movies you like while walking through a forest. It's not some weird, huge thing where you can't. It's just you obviously are allowed to talk about whatever you want, so you can have the natural nature connection with another person in a forest and experiencing nature while talking about things which are maybe Western. But it's important to have that time where occasionally, even if you go out for an hour and you just have 1 minute, you just go, you know what, let's just all be quiet just for 1 minute, and you just switch off everything else and you just let your senses absorb the life, and that's all you need. And that's, as you say, what you were saying earlier as well with the whole, in a month, you know, maybe just have one day where you do this, or in a week have like one little walk or something. And I found that people need a disconnect. We can't be fed the information, as you say. It's an overload in the wrong ways. It's not a good sensory overload.
We struggled to switch off, especially in this day and age, and especially when I left college, and when I worked in America, and I came back from America, and I was working 3 jobs to afford me to run the forest school. I found it really hard to have a balance of work and pleasure, and that's when things suffer. Like, obviously, I was working so much to afford things I wanted to do in the future, but at the same time, even just little times, I was abusing that. Like, I didn't have any time. Like, even if you want to work as much as you can to raise as much money as you can, you still just an hour a week just have for yourself to just do something that you want to do. Like, and it's about that balance between pleasure and work. And obviously, some people get a lot, like I do now, get a lot of pleasure from work, but I had to do the shitty jobs to get where I was. But some people hate their job so much, and then they're stuck in their routines, and they're miserable when they get home and stuff. But it's just about making a small little change, and it'll make all the difference. Like, I can promise that. Like, I don't promise too much, but I can promise tiny little changes like that will make a massive difference in your life.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect, man. And you know, we're coming nearest to the hour mark now, so I think that's probably, if you're happy, we can wrap this up, and that'll be a nice little way to end it, because I know you've got to shoot off. I know you've got to shoot off in a bit, and so if you just remind, I'll put a link in the description and stuff. I'll make sure you send the information to us. But just say one more time, obviously for people in Wales, then, and obviously if you're in England, you can always travel to Wales. If you're going to go to Wales for a weekend, just check out. So what is it called? Sorry, I'll include the links.
Feel the Wild is what I run. So it's once a month. like I said, we go back between coastal walks to inland waterfall walks, so back and forth between the two. They're roughly an hour and a half. They're for all walks of life. They're for everybody. I say for anybody and everybody, dogs included. Everyone's invited. Anybody, you don't have to disclose if you are suffering, but also there's a lot of time for you to talk to us and experience. You might learn something from me waffling on. I'm always talking about some shit, so you're more than welcome to join on that waffle. But also you're more than welcome to tell me to shut up as well. But like I said, lots of time to chill out, do nothing, talk. You can lead forward, you can go back. There's loads of options. It's what you make it, and we're just kind of
a guide,
giving you the safe passage through to where we're going and back. But between those two times, it's all up to you. Make your own journey with us, and hopefully it'll make a little change, even if it's a tiny little change, and make a smile, bring happiness to one of your days. That's all we want. Help one person, and we're happy.
That's absolutely beautiful. And do you have are you on social media and stuff?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page. So there's some photos from our last walk. You've got my lodger's sausage dog Lola. She's like the icon of this place now. So have a look at her.
She's adorable.
Gorgeous. So,
I can't wait to meet her.
Yeah, she's amazing. So yeah, it's all on there. Link in the description. Like I said, you can travel up. Let me know if you want to travel up and experience it. But also, if you're just thinking about going to Wales, I can definitely recommend some walks, especially around the Gower, around Pembrokeshire, around the Brecon Beacons. Even
they could probably message the Facebook page then, can't they?
Yeah, definitely. Like yeah, I'm
awesome.
more than happy to.
Well, that's perfect. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. It's been a great talk.
Thank you.
And that's the end of the podcast. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys. Next week is either going to be another episode of Science But Simple, because I haven't done one of them in a while, or it's going to be a two-parter with my friend Sophie, part one, of course. I haven't really decided which one it's going to be yet, so we'll see next week. I'm also going up to London to record one podcast with another podcaster and one podcast with someone who owns a clothing company, so we'll see how that all goes down. For the next few weeks, I've got a few others sort of lined up with a few people over Skype, a couple of people in America, so we'll see how those goes as well. That's going to be very, very interesting. As usual, follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Instagram generally being the best one. Twitter is more just random thoughts I occasionally have and some retweets of fellow podcasters. Instagram is a more in-depth look into sort of what kind of get up to, places I go, and some more photos and stuff. As I said at the start of this podcast, Alex and I, during the podcast, talk about his tattoos and his flip-flop tan lines, and I actually got photos of them, so they're quite funny to see if you haven't already seen them. I was also thinking about setting up a Patreon page. I was thinking about maybe doing some bonus content on there for like movie reviews and stuff I've sort of been up to a little bit. I haven't fully worked out as of yet if I would really want to do that. I think I do at some point. I just don't want it to be like a minuscule one where there's like one or two people, like a tiny amount of people sort of donating, because I just think if I'm going to release all that bonus content, maybe I'd want to do it with more people. But then again, it's like, would more people go onto it once there'd been bonus episodes? I don't know. I haven't really figured it out. Maybe I'll record a bonus episode, release it on the main channel and be like, this is a preview for Patreon if anyone's interested. I haven't really figured it out yet. I imagine I'd launch it even if I did. Probably not till next year, because I'm quite busy at the moment and there's a lot to think about. I don't know. We'll see where this all sort of goes. If any of you would be interested in me doing bonus episodes with movie reviews, additional information about myself and anything else that people would be intrigued by, I can always do Ask Me Anything, any of that sort of jazz. Probably just all be solo podcasts really. I wouldn't take any away from the main sort of catalogue of any of the podcasts I've already got with people, and I wouldn't, if I recorded a new podcast with any new guests, I wouldn't like cut it in half and just give half to Patreon users, because that sort of stuff really annoys me. Obviously everyone's free to do what they want with their own content and stuff, but if I'm listening to a really good podcast, I'm like, this is getting really good, and then it gets a bit further and then it stops, and it's like, and that's the end of the podcast. If you want to listen to the rest of it, you have to pay us. It's like, well, I get it, considering, people doing this, it's all for free. Every hour I put into this, I don't get any money back from it. I don't make any money off this at all. It's costing me money just to have the Podbean, sort of the Podbean site running. It costs a amount of money for that, with all the hosting and that sort of jazz. Not to mention the time, the equipment, the fuel of driving to and from places and stuff. So, it's not free, so I can understand people doing that, but I'd rather give additional content rather than taking away from full content and making you then behind a paywall. But that's neither here nor there. I just thought I'd say it again. I've been saying it at the end of these podcasts, right at the end, just to see what people kind of think. So if anyone is vaguely interested, maybe hit me up. Or maybe there'll just be loads of you quietly saying, yeah, I'll do that, but I don't want to tell him I will, because I don't want to feel pressured. Obviously, even if anyone messaged me and said they would, and then I would launch and no one did, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I wouldn't hold anyone to it, but I don't know. We'll see. It's late on a Sunday and I'm kind of rambling now at the end, so I'm going to switch this off. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys, and I'll talk to you next week.